All right, welcome back, freshmen. I'm just gonna quickly go through the watercolor exercise in the iPad. It's only gonna be a little bit different from the directions, so you can follow along there. The main divergent element is that instead of creating a new document and placing the image in, we're just gonna do import and open, and I selected the watercolor picture. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to edit the levels to increase the brightness. So what I'm going to do is we're going to make a new adjustment layer. I'm going to tap this plus inside of the square, and then I'm going to tap new adjustment layer. I'm going to select levels. All right, now you can see the histogram. What you'll notice on the histogram is that you can see basically where all of the light values are falling in the image. So there isn't any black, there is some white, but there's also a lot of very light gray, and that's where you're seeing that texture in the background. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring over this white a little bit. So that changes the gamma a little bit, but I'm just going to drag the gamma back over. And there's still going to be some areas where it's a little bit too, so we're just going to blow that out. The main thing is that we want to watch is to see like that some areas aren't getting too blown out. The main thing is that for different swatches, different level adjustments are going to look better. So I'm just going to go and focus on the blue swatches for now, and we're going to pull some of those. And then when we want to get the light blue and the pink, we'll change the level adjustments. Okay. All right. And then so what we're going to do is we're going to use the selection tools. We're going to use the lasso, and then we're going to just select one of the swatches just like that. And then we're going to go to the dot, dot, dot over here, and we're going to go to copy merged. Then we're going to go back home, and we're going to create a new document. So we need one that's 1,000 pixels wide and 1,000 pixels high. So we got it. Then I'm going to hit create. And then I'm going to go to the dot, dot, dot and hit paste. So now we have this nice big swatch. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hit paste again. Then I'm going to just move the top layer so you can kind of see what's happening. We've got our bottom swatch and our top swatch. And then you're going to go to the layer properties. So for this layer, we're going to change the blend mode to multiply. And then that's going to give it a layering effect that kind of looks like real watercolor. So basically, this untitled document is where we're going to compose the picture of whatever you've been assigned. So you're going to use the different swatches and compose them in order to make the picture. So you can change the shape of the swatches if you want. You can make them smaller. You can also grab them, and so if you use the move tool and then you tap the little touch shortcut and you drag it out to the side, you can see that it says duplicate. And now when I touch it, it'll duplicate them. So that's a really easy way to build a building. I'm just tapping and pulling out. One thing you'll notice is that you're only going to be able to pull automatically from the last layer that you had selected. If you want to go back and choose some of the other layers, then you need to go to the layer select. So if I wanted the bottom layer, for example, to do my duplication, I need to tap that, and then I should be able to drag it. One thing I guess I don't have the blend mode set to multiply, but now I do. In addition to like grabbing one swatch, you can go back to home and then come back to your picture and change the levels a little bit. So right now, I think that the dark blue swatches look good, but that light blue swatch looks a little too blown out. So I'm gonna bring the gamma down. I'm gonna bring the clip white input point down, but then I'm gonna bring the gamma up so we can have some of that color come back. And you'll notice, I think that looks good for the light blue, but I don't think that the red swatches look particularly great with that. So I'm just gonna, use my lasso tool. Honestly, I think I'm just gonna shift this a little bit so it's a little less extreme. I like that, okay. So then I'm gonna just hit because there's a little bit of grain around it. I want to subtract from my selection. All right. And then I'm going back to the ... I'm doing copy merged. I'm going to home. I'm going to my untitled document. And then I can just paste it in. If I want it on the top, I can move it to the top. And I'll set the blend mode to multiply. And then now you've got more different kinds of swatches. Of course, there's also other types of swatches. So, you can use like the eyeball or some of the drops to help add details. So I can grab that. I adjusted the levels a little bit, but I'm just going to copy merge. And then I'm going to go back to untitled. And I'm just going to go to the ... and paste that bad boy right back. Switch the blend mode to multiply. And you've got an eye. One thing you can also do is if you want to, you can adjust these layers themselves. So you can, not only can you transform them, you could use the different transform options, though I do kind of think that can distort the size of the grain and make things look weird. But you can skew stuff. You can turn on distort and move stuff around that way. And then you can also come back and adjust the color. So if I wanted to adjust the color, I'm just going to choose one of the blue ones. There's two good ways to adjust the color. The first one is that you might want to change the color balance. The second one is that you might choose to change hue and saturation. Color balance is gonna always look, I think usually it looks better than doing hue and saturation. The big thing with color balance though is that you can't make such large changes to the color. So I can shift the color quite a bit, like I've gone from a royal blue to a teal, but you usually can't shift it so far using color balance like you can with hue and saturation. Okay, so just sorry. I think I also when I did this, I don't think I talked through it properly, but the way that you add an effect is you tap on your layer and then you hit add clipped adjustment, and then it's going to make a new clipping mask with your adjustment layer. So you can go change that adjustment later. But so I'm going to show you guys hue and saturation for this one. So now there's a nice little, clipping mask here with the effect on it. And as you can see, you can shift the colors one way or another. Excuse me, sorry. Something important you should kind of pay attention to is that when you change the hue, it's going to look good for some colors and it's not going to look so good for others. So when I look at this, that does not look natural to me at all, and I do not like the way that looks. One thing that can fix that is when the green looks so blown out, I can change the saturation, and now it looks more natural, like a watercolor again. Additionally, you might also need to so this orange now, that doesn't look super great. So I can bring back the saturation a little bit, though it's still going to be down. A lot of the time where it wants to burn out the colors, that can be a good place to just bring down the saturation a little bit so it doesn't look so unnatural. Again, small color adjustments aren't going to be such an issue. It's really going to be the bigger ones where you're going to have more of a problem. So for like the yellow, that one looks quite nice. I think brighter. But then sometimes I just find that you get these weird, really blown out parts, and that's when you might need to change the saturation. Like this one, for example, the saturation is way down. What it naturally would do, if we just start here, that's what it's going to look like, which I think looks okay. But you are losing some of the tone, so bringing down the saturation can help a little bit. So anyway, what you guys are going to do is you're going to combine the different shapes in order to make a picture. All right, so whatever your birthday is, that's going to determine what you do. So my birthday is the 21st of September, so mine is a depressed cockroach. So what I can do, I guess, is what I think you should do is reshape the swatches rather than cutting out pieces. Well, what you can do is either two things. You can cut out pieces of the swatches, or you can reshape and resize them. So if I was making a cockroach, and again, I'm not going to spend as much time. I want to be brief so you guys have time to work. But let's just, I guess I'll just multi-select and just delete some of these. Oof. You can also go to multi-select mode and just delete more than one at a time. Okay. So, depressed cockroach. I did not make my life easy with that, huh? Okay.